Today we got Victor Castro. Victor, I don't see you. If you are on the video, there you are. Hi, Victor.
Hey, how are you,
Victor?
everyone?
Good. So I hope everything's well with you in Houston. So Houston Central.
Yeah, everything is perfect. We're getting a really nice weather right now for us. It's kind of like
right.
Chile after a hot summer. Anyway, let's go. Go ahead, Gene.
All right. So today we're going to go over some lithium zirconia material, some pressing. So Victor has been using some of the VITA materials for years now. One of which is he presses a lot of the laminates or interior work using the Ambria press. And so we appreciate you coming on board and giving your side of what you do, your story of how you use Ambria and use pressing materials generally in your lab, and your success story. We're all waiting to hear about that. So Victor, Castro had been friends with him for many years, maybe 15, 18 years or something like that at this point.
Yes.
Yeah, Victor is founder and president of Studio 280, a boutique prosthetics laboratory in Houston, Texas. How'd you come up with the name 280, Studio 280?
Oh, that was so funny. Actually, I used to be in a building, the suite was 280. The suite number I used to rent it in that time, and one of the patients one time walked in my office and said, "Hey, I've been looking for the Studio 280." I said, "Wow, that's a cool name." And I switched the name, we created DBA and everybody started calling it Studio 280. Now I'm in a different address, but it's still Studio 280 actually. That is fun. It's more, and it's because it's more a photography, more a style studio. We are very small lab, we've been here. It's the type of studio more than, and the 280 is the number. Thank you.
All right. And it's stuck ever since. So Victor comes from a large family of dentists and dental technicians out of South America. Since he was a kid, he has been exposed to dentistry and naturally got involved in his parents' dental lab. In 1998, Victor moved to Houston, Texas. And over the last 20 plus years, he's worked with some of the most prominent dental offices in Houston, specializing in functional and cosmetic restorations, large cases, fixed bridge work, fixed dentures. Thing about Victor is that he just doesn't do crown bridge, but he also does all sorts of fixed materials as well for fixed dentures, for large cases, and so forth. So he's an all-around versatile on many subject matter in dental technology. So if you do have some questions as we go through this, just pressing, but as you get questions, please forward them so we have that at the end of the program. Victor graduated from the Mechanical Dental School of New York in 1994 with almost 30 years of experience in all phases of dental laboratory technology. He has spent years studying advanced laboratory techniques from masters around the world, including Claude Sieber, Willie Geller, and others. Victor is a member of the Art and Experience, a dental technicians group led by Claude Sieber out of Switzerland. I'm not sure if you're going to take that over since Claude's kind of backed out, retired.
Kind of. He's never going to be fully retired.
Victor is also a board member of the National and International Dental Organization Progress in Science and Education with Ceramics, PROSEC. He's a dedicated educational group function with a mission to develop and publish best practices for technicians and dentists around the world. Lectures internationally and gives hands-on courses on various subjects related to laboratory technology and aesthetic dentistry. He's also a master technician in the area of porcelain, aesthetics, restorations, and both natural teeth and osseointegrated implants. So with that said,
wow.
Victor, I am going to turn this over to you.
Okay, Jim, thank you very much. That was a great introduction. Oh my God, you just described 27 years of working in this field. It's been a long journey, you know, and I know a lot of you people, they have a great experience, and I believe everyone is being in this industry. Is a few technicians now in this industry. They're interested in learning the artistic part about now combined with technology. You know, it's very difficult to finding technicians all across, but I gotta say this is one of the most beautiful professions I ever met. You know, I got the opportunity to go to the dental school back in 95 in my country, and but then I decided to stay as a technician. I moved here, and I've been working with a really good dentist in the field. Uh, with the advantage or disadvantage to know dentistry, learning while being helping them how to communicate with the patients. And that is a little bit about today. You know, we're gonna use lithium-zirconia materials like ambria. We're gonna show a couple cases we done, but the most important is the concept, how we can get into the treatment planning to use the materials. We try to, I try to decide with the treatment planning what we can use or what we're going to use as a material, depends on the teeth and depends on the color and everything else. But let's start a little bit here. You know, I found this small lab almost 20 years ago here in Houston, working with a lot of doctors in town. I only decide to work with a dentist no more than 10 miles around me because I love to see my patients. I love to do my own custom shade. I love to interview the patients. I love to interact with the dentist, basically, and a little bit different than to be a technician. So, you know, I love technicians. They like to be at the office and in their own work and working and doing their own things. I'm Colombian. I'm a little more social. You know, I like to go try to sell. And something I learned with the time is in this business, I look at it, I have to sell my business. And that's what I do today with my doctors. I don't waiting for the doctor to provide me work. I'm going with them and sell cases. Uh, and educate patients. And that's what we want to see today, how we can educate the patients, how I can educate the doctors to get a predictable cases and get a predictable planning. The first things, you know, is I have to give thank you appreciation to my mentors and my teachers and to all my colleagues and my team. You know, we are three here, and without my team working with me all the time, this is not possible. Thank you to my family. You know, is always the one is being supporting me and is always behind my back to support everything I do. Long time ago, we say that I read that from a really good friend. And behind every great man is a great woman. You know, behind every great dentist is a great technician. That's Lamberto. I heard that from him in social media, and become so. But behind every great technician is a great dentist. You know, it's a team. This you cannot go and do everything you want to do, or you can be the best technician if you don't have the best dentist around you. You know, a lot of people, they come to me and say, I've been hearing you are a great technician. I want to work with you. And I say, I'm not the best technician. I have a really good team with my dentist. That's what we try to do the best. You know, I imagine you have the same. You out of the sudden you have a lot of dentists, they call you and say, hey, I want to send a case, you're the best, this and that. And then after the first case, you start struggling a little bit and you say, why? But you are the best, this and that. And It's not about the technician, it's not about the dentist, it's about the team. If you can planning, this is my one of my best doctors says all the time after he read it in one of my presentations, is behind every dentist and every great technician is the validated digital flow today, behind, and that is where it came from. What is a digital flow? And let me start in that point before we to get into the material itself. But all the materials today, every single laboratory, we working in digital flow. It's not a matter what, we're receiving digital impressions, we have scanners, we have printers, we have so many components to create digital flow. If we don't get any digital impression for the dentist today, we can still put the stone and we digitalize that stone into a digital flow. It's many things we can do, but prefer to use the technology or devices incorporate, in the computer's control components and carry out dental procedures rather than using mechanical or electronic tools. That is very important. Digital dentistry. Digital dentistry has been changing life for everyone. We can be faster, more precise, but the most important, we're consistent. Now with the digital flow, we are 100% consistent. But it's amazing how everything in the industry is been changing. And I was talking a few months ago about this in one of the presentations in the local aesthetic club. But the only thing it didn't change at all is the way the doctors preps tooth. They're still using a handpiece and they're still using a burr. Everything is digital. The industry has been changing tremendously in the last 10, 15 years, but they're still using the same way for the last 17 years. That is very important. That's why I tell my dentist, I need the best prep you can give me, the best polishing prep you can have. CAD/CAM, we have a lot of devices today, different brands, different machines. The 3D printing is great. Digital radiography is one of the best. Today as a technicians, we need to know how to read X-rays. We have to read CT scans. We know how many of you guys you get a phone call from your doctor and say which intraoral scan you recommend me to use in my office, which camera you use, I really recommend it. As a technicians, we get from the dentist many of these questions today. We don't, dentists, they rely a lot in the dental technicians to get into the technology. It's a lot of reasons. We can sit here and talk about that for hours, but the most important, and I think dentists realize something, a dental technician has the opportunity to work with many, many dentists through the year. They meet a couple of technicians, a few technicians through the whole life. And that way, they know, in my case, for example, I work with 10 dentists. Usually one of my dentists is coming and asking me a question, because if I don't know one of my 10 dentists, they know, and I'm gonna ask him, and I'm gonna rely on that information. I'm gonna pass that information to my friends. The most important thing today is how we're gonna use this. And let me get in this part a little bit before we go forward. Is we have to get all this data and about the digital, and is so important, the same as an analog, is to get all the information. The advantages today is when the patients go to the dental office, they get the intraoral scans, they get the CDCT, they get some pictures, they get the charts, they get, we provide the mounting, the digital mounting today. We can use a face scan. We can get all this information and put it in a computer. We can put in Dropbox in my case. I love to use Dropbox with my doctors. There's a folder with the name, patient's name, and all the information is in one folder. I can access that folder from my phone. I can access from my computer at home. I can access anywhere I am. And that way, in one point of the day, if I need to talk to the doctor about the case, everything is there. That is the most important about technology today. It's not about the machines. It's about I can centralize all the organization of the folders. I can see X-rays. I can see CBCTs on my phone today. I can see so many things. You know, phones is my life. You know, we're gonna get all the information. You can go on social media and you can see everybody's talking about that. You know, beautiful pictures. You know, it's amazing. But the most important is how we're gonna use this information in the daily basic cases. You know, like I say, as a technician today, we need to know how to read combine DICOM files. We need to understand how to scan. You know, even in my office, I have an intraoral scanner. I have very simple one, but I have an intraoral scanner. Why? Because many times the patients are coming to my office and I need something, and still sending the patient back to their office. I just take the scanner and scan, and I get my records, the ones I need here. If you have the ability to see patients, you know, in Texas, we can do that. In Texas, we can interview patients. We can work in the patient's mouth as long as we don't modify permanently anything in the patient's mouth. Means I do a lot of trials in my office, and especially today, the prepless veneer, I try without any problem. Single central, usually we do here, and we try. And like I say, you know, if your doctors, they don't have a digital scanner, they can still take an analog impression, and we can go into the scanner and we can digitalize that analog impression into. What we're gonna do with this? The first thing we do with this information is we're gonna go into the planning, and we're gonna process all that. We're gonna sit with the doctors and we're gonna process all this information to get into something. And the most important is usually when they say, okay, what we can do is, and everybody starts shooting information or thoughts about that, is we have to start processing the data in different software and create a digital plan. That is one of the most important parts, you know. There's a lot of softwares in the market. It's a different manufacturer, different programs they can do that. We use two different ones in my office, and I've been in bed with two different companies to do all this planning. I don't do the planning anymore in my office. I've been found that for me it's better to outsourcing the planning, get all the information, outsourcing the planning. Is the people, they do planning every single day. They have more tools they are more into, and I just evaluate with my doctors and we decide what is the route we want to take it. You know, a lot of questions that are coming all the time: open system, closed systems. You know, the STL file, the uncompromised file from the doctors. You know, is in general, you know, it is very important today. In my belief is, and I do every time I have a new doctor they want to join and work with us, is I sit with them and I explain a lot of things. A lot of dentists they know today, but unbelievable or not, it's a lot of dentists they don't understand the digital flow. Unfortunately, most of the schools they are not integrated with the digital flow yet into their system, and that is a no-no, basically. But I sit with my doctors and explain, you know, we want to use the JPEG file. What is the TIFF? What is their file? You know, they understand a lot of this terminology, but they don't know how to apply. And the most important, they have to be so clear in their office, and that way they can project that to their staff. Because end of the day, who you have to ask for the pictures of the files, you know, is the staff, and the staff also has to be educated in this. You know, I've been working in that is more than growing my business as I try to go and sell the business. The way I've been growing my business is educating the people they work with me and they work with the dentist. And that way we can educate the patients, you know, and something like this is when you call to the assistant, to the dental office, and you talk to the assistant and you say, hey, can you send me the STL file? And they look into you and they don't understand what you're talking about. It's an issue. You know, we need to educate our staff. We need to educate our dentists, and it's not just the dentists, the people that work with the dentists. And that way, when you get the information, you can export. You know, for example, a lot of the dentists in the United States, they use a closed system, like they then supply Sirona, but now they can export the information, you know, and that is something, unfortunately, they don't know how to do it in many of the office, because they are used to working the circle inside of their office. It's a closed system for them, but today they have the ability to export, and you have to go and sit and explain, you know, sometimes, and you go and train the people. As a technicians, we have to train the people we want to work to. You know, it's like in the past, we used to go and train our dentists how to take the pictures when we start doing digital photography, and that way we can get the right picture for color. You know, it's a lot of possibilities today with the digital workflow, you know, but the most important is, for me, is for the team to understand where we're going. And when we have a plan in the digital flow, when we sit and we decide what we want to do and how we're going to do it, before we tell the patient, we can show the patient what is going to be the final product. You know, and something in the past or still in the present, one of the most difficult things for a dentist or for a technician in the dental business exactly is, we sell something to the patient for a high amount of money, and they cannot perceive, or they cannot touch, or they cannot see it, how it's going to be the final product. Digital flow gives us the ability to present and immerse or show the patient and get the patient with emotions how to we're going to get. This is the way people, they see a dental PO. Not just the dentist. Remember, the dental laboratory is part of the dentistry. We are not a separate industry. You know, we are the same. If they don't sell, we don't get work. You know, we have to understand that part. And patients, they see dentists like this. It's just a moneymaker, and they're gonna cut, they're gonna mutilate, they're gonna do a lot of things. It's pain. Even for me, go to the dental office. Every time I go to my friends to the dental office, I got, you know, I sit in the chair and they take my blood pressure, and it's always high. You know, I don't know what they're gonna do to me. It's crazy, but people, you know, the first thing as a general public they see is the cost. You know, they're very concerned about, they always say dentistry is very expensive. And it's true, thanks God it's very expensive, because we live with that, you know, but we have to show why it's expensive. We have to we cannot sell dentistry, they have to buy dentistry. It's something I've been learning from the time. You know, many times, like I mentioned before, dentists, they overpromise what they can deliver, and then they cannot deliver what they promise, because the laboratory cannot produce what they promise, because was not planning. You know, how many times of you guys, you get a case to make 10 veneers without the wax off, and you just do 10 veneers, and then the veneers, they come back and they say they look too long, too wide, too short, so many things, you know. And the first impression you get from the patient every time you deliver something, every time you show yourself, is the most important. I've been learning the personal interaction and the relationship with the team, with the patient. Everything is you selling yourself. You're selling you're showing that. And I'm talking about selling because that is the most important. If you don't sell, it's not about money. If you don't sell, if you don't present yourself to the dentist, to the patient, to show, you cannot. In the end of the day, you don't get the trust. When they buy something from you, it's because they trust you, and you have to present that way. That is my personal opinion in the experience I have here. You know, dress well. when you see a patient, a special technician. Sorry, I have to say this, and I'm here many times in the lab when I don't see patients, when I'm working late, in shorts also in the summertime. But when you are with the patients or with the doctor, show something, show the artistic part, show the business part, show you have to, and working your communications skills, that is very important. Be kind, I try to use all these words around my office. I read a long time ago, the most important kindness, willingness, listening, and technical skill. This is confirmed by another study that suggests that allow the first impressions and influence in patients. The dentist's communication skill, behavior, and attitude toward the patients are the most important. Okay. You got this one, the material. United States found the most important factor for patients are the professional, ethical behaviors and good diagnosis and quality treatment and dentist communication skill. Guess what? Communication. We're going to talk about that. What is communication? How we can communicate with the patients. Communications with the patient is not just to show and tell what we can do, is to get all this information. And today, if you see, I use this slide from when we used to be with the DSD group, but I think Christian was a genius. He didn't invent anything, but he put together the whole thing in the right way to show the patient the final product before you start doing something, before you even cut it. That is what we have to do today. If you are not practiced like that today, you have to start it. You have to start it because this is the only way we can do modern dentistry is predictable. Comprehensive dentistry is interdisciplinary. Interdisciplinary has the facial-driven or facial-driven treatment plans that start with the smile line. If you don't know where you situate the incisor-like position of the two centrals, you are lost. You are totally lost in the plan, in the execution of the plan. By all the time, we talking about function, structure, biology that take to the aesthetics. And we have the whole team, the restorative team, the surgical team, the restorative team, technician, and final outcome. That has been the circle for many years. Now, I believe it's like this. We are struggling, we talk. Technician is not just the one, is the manufacturer, the prosthesis is part of the team, totally. And I'm gonna explain you why, a pros or a general dentist used to be the one orchestrate everything and talk with the different specialties in the market, but now, we talk each other all the time. I have my orthodontics, they call me, I have endodontists, they call me. But what is different here? Why is the modern thinking is changing? Because first you have to look at the case from the aesthetic part to get in the right function, structure, and biology, and this is aesthetic dentistry for me and for my team. A lot of people, they call interdisciplinary dentistry. We working into provide the patient the best treatment, no alternative treatment, the best treatment we can do and why we can do. We're gonna look at it every single aspect in the computers before we go into the patient's mouth. We're gonna talking to them, we're gonna talk to each other before we see the patient, because I'm gonna show you, everybody's talking about the mock-ups, and that's what we do. How many times you have cases like that coming into your office and you say, yes, we can fix it, we can do this, we can do that. Is absolutely crazy. With one picture, everything we can decide to do it. How are we gonna do it? how we're gonna practice to do it, and especially when we have patients with trauma, for example, and then we have to do temporaries or prototypes, you know, and then look at this. This is the final product. It's a case we fail. It's a case we fail in the past. And now with emotional dentistry, we can do it. What is emotional dentistry? That is very important. Is, you know, a lot of people are talking about is when you put your heart with the brain, you have to connect those things. When the emotions become involved into, you know, every single our patients today, we do a digital dentistry, means we plan in the computer, and then through the mockup, we translate into the patient's mouth. We do a lot of visual communication, and that way they can understand, they can see what we're doing. You know, many of these patients, they can take the mock-up to their home for a couple of days. In that way, they can engage with their families, with the husband or wife, and take the final decisions. You know, they have to be involved, and the beauty about digital dentistry, let's say when we do the emotional mock-up, if they say, if we say, or the patient look at it and say, oh, it's a little bit too long, it's a little bit too short, it's really simple to switch. But most likely, I gotta be honest with you, since we start working with the NEMO program, is almost 95% accuracy. I gotta say it's still 5%, depends of the position of the pictures when we take, and everything else where we miss sometimes a little things like the smile line, but patients, they engage. You know, I have patients that come into the office for veneers, and they walk in with the ortho planning and 10 veneers, or we have patients, they come in for a single crown, and we show what we can do before the implant or the preparation of the crown replacement, and they go to the orthodontics. I become, as a technician, I become one of my favorite, I become the favorite tool of selling for orthodontics in my area. They love me because we sell ortho all day long. When I show the patients what we can do for them and how we can do it, you know, so many of these cases just with ortho and bleaching, they come beautiful, or minimal preparations like we're gonna talk. You know, it's amazing how, and I like to put this example, is in the construction industry, first you go to the architect who is gonna design for you. Then you go to the engineer who's going to say the planning and what is going to be the material, the structure, everything. And then you go to the builder and they're going to build it. You know, it's exactly the same. The smart plan or the digital planning is the first one before you sell something. The doctors, they work in the team now with us. They don't sell to the patient veneers. They don't sell to the patient a hybrid. They don't sell a 3-unit bridge. They just, first they sitting and they do the digital planning for almost every single patient they work in the office. And after that, they sitting and they explain them what they can do for them. And then patients, they take the decision, and we have patients, you know, they accepting. The case acceptance is so high. It's so high now. I have one of my best accounts, I gotta be honest. I've been working with her for 20 years. She was the perfect account to do inlines, onlines for almost 15 years with me. Today, she does maybe one full mouth case a month. And she changed the way because she doesn't sell dentistry by pieces. She presents the treatment to the patient, and patients decide. You know, and some patients say, I don't want it, I cannot afford it. Many things they can say it, oh, already I don't want right now. I'm not ready. I come just for a couple of teeth. Why I have to do all this? But the plan is there, you know, and patients, they come back after a few months, a few years, they coming back and say, hey, we talk about this, I'm ready now. Can we do it? And you have already the plan, you have already the design. you already planning for the future, you know, is doing the digital way, and that is put me into, you know, every single full mount case we do it using implants today, like Jim said. We do a lot of hybrids in the office. Everything is guided surgery. Even today, for a minimal reduction preparation cases for veneers, I bring guide to prep guys, you know, and that way they can see it. You know, that is very important, because if you don't get the tool to cut it, how are you expecting your doctor to cut exactly what you need? That's basically what I tried to say. And let me show you this. This is come across this year, this article. Is a they did they did this test with the 500 participants in Italy back in 2020. I think it was just after the pandemic. I don't know, but this come out. You know, they tried to show the patient, or ask the patient. The test was the preferred method of to showing was dental WhatsApps or DSD in that time. Now I gotta call it a digital smile design, oral explanation, or others. Look at the numbers, look the true numbers. That is very important. The acceptance of the way the patients perceive is through something is they can touch, they can see it, they can power. Dental WhatsApp, they are beautiful. It's in the model, but they don't see in their face. Digital smile design, they can see in their face through the computer, or you can do the mock-up and then you can show actually with a picture in their face. You know, oral explanation doesn't give any idea. Usually the patients, unless they come to the office for the treatment, they don't accept the treatment, and others. You know, and look at age. The age is, you know, this is our target, you know, and especially 14 years, minimum preparation veneers to use Ambria, 15 to 25 years old. It's a lot of people, they want just a little pieces, and I'm gonna show you a little bit about that. But anyway, when we read these articles, it's amazing how the acceptance is always in the digital. Is the best part. Colors, look at the colors. You know, that's Italy. If unfortunately I don't have the data for the United States, but the United States is going to be ON1, ON2, definitely. But it's going to be, you know, and you have to stick to the WhatsApp. Saying that, you know, today I argue with the patients about shape and what function that is my work, and I take the decision in that. I say this color they choose. If they say they want ON1, ON2, do it. I do it. I don't fight with the patients anymore. And let me show you the way we do it. Patients that come into the office, we take a picture, and we don't take any pictures today. This is very much what we do every day. You know, we try to be very professional with the pictures, and that way they can see us not just as I can say. I'm gonna show you a couple different pictures, but we took the photography, initial photography, we send it to the center. They're gonna evaluate all the information, and they can, with a very image second. Oh, sorry, something went wrong here. Let me go back. Sorry about that. Oh, something is wrong. But anyway, we use a center now. It's called DS2 Digital Planning. It's here in Houston. It's a great center. They use Nemotech also. We go back and forth with the cases. And we work in the design. Can you hear me? Jim, I need to know if you hear me.
I do hear you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
We planning, like we did the planning with this patient. You know, the software is an ideal software to create, and I know everybody's familiar. We put the incisor the incisor position in place, following in the digital place. Then we translate this into the patient's mouth, and when we translate this, we can get the feedback from the patient, you know, and as soon as they smile, as soon as they feel good, you can tell in the patient when they're happy and when they're not happy, as soon as they have the first look. We cannot analyze the mock-up in the mouth for a little details because it's a mock-up. You know, we try, we follow the protocol to never show the patient with a mirror. We show pictures in the computer, or you know, and we give those videos with the phone sometimes, and that way they can look at it themselves in there. But this is the way the patients they can perceive. Then we take these cases, and after the patient accept the case, we go and we're gonna have to, we're planning for some bone grafting, tissue grafting, and all that, or implant placement, and we start the procedures. You know, the first thing we do in the majority of the cases before we do anything is my doctors, they like to inject some composite, and we give the patient the smile just in composite. It's prepless, nothing is being touched, nothing is being healed. And then the patient is going naturally for a periosurgery. I love to shoot this picture in presentation. I love what the doctors they do it today. Is crazy. This surgery is one of my good friends, Wisan Salha, Dr. Salha, is the one performing these surgeries, and we were very close in all the planning. But this is the only way we know how to make the case predictable, how he can put the papilla, how we can do wedges at regular temporaries. I don't believe in that. We believe in, if you have to do any aesthetic surgery, you have to use the final product of the teeth. And this is just, you know, composite for now. We're waiting for this to heal, to switch to clean this composite, and we're gonna use some prepless veneering Ambria. This is a case, one of the first cases we use Ambria. The patient the same, present into the office. Incisor position, kind of good, kind of okay. That was back in 2018 when we started doing these cases. The ideal planning we went through was a long planning. We have to, you know, between the perio and the implant placements and all that took almost 2 years because the patient was not ready. We didn't have the sources to invest the money into the planning of the dental planning. And what happened is she was postponing, but the treatment was there. The planning was there all the time. You know, we finished last year this case back in December, but we being follow the protocol, being knowing exactly where we're going was a lot of things we can do it. You know, I love about the digital planning is about this picture. This is the most important picture for me and for my team, is when we superimpose the final treatment with the initial situation. And this, as we go in the planning after perio, after modification of the teeth and anything, we can bring the new STL file for the dental office and superimpose with the final product. In that way, we know exactly how close or how far out we are from planning. you know, because we told the patient, this is what we can do for you, and we have to stick to that. You know, we take a lot of these pictures, we superimpose from the very start, and then I just go. This is important to understand with the patients. We try to work with the papilla here. Was very difficult. You're gonna see it. She lost the papilla. She got one old implant there. They worked really hard and grabs tissue, but unfortunately, nothing worked the way we're planning exactly, but was very close. And then, as you know, Ambria came across, and we decided to use some Ambria. You know, we still pressing traditional in the office. I don't know. We mill the wax. We use mill wax. We sprue. We press. But today is, for me, printing. For me, printing today is one of the best solutions for wax. And I come across and we print the wax. It's amazing what we can do, because basically we use these new printers and the trick press system for all my cases. And that way, basically, we press only one ring for 10 veneers, 12 veneers, you know, 2 rings if it's a dual arch. But usually one press, one printing, and everything. You know, more than welcome to ask any question about this system. I don't know if you're familiar with the system. It's not a brand new system in the market. The only advantage I see it is this printing wax is the only wax you don't need to cure. Is coming out, you know, because I have in the past a lot of problems with the printing wax, and after curing, deformation was crazy, was not accurate enough. This one, the fitting, everything is absolutely perfect. And then, you know, with the system we've been using for minimal preparation veneers, or for non-prep veneers, I use Ambria. The material is beautiful. The way the light is carried, you know, is one, for me, is one of the most aesthetic materials pressing. And the brother or the sister I call is supremacy. You can mirror also, and you have pretty much kind of the same effect. I love, as a technician, to press more than mill Lithium-Zirconia, because, you know, pressing with one inga, I can get 3, 4, 5 veneers. Milling, you need 1 block per veneer. That's basically, you know, the temperatures that are nice. You know, I don't want to talk about this too much here, but it's very important. Calibrate the ovens, guys. A lot of people, a lot of the questions I have through the technical support when they call me, when they say, I know about the ceramic is the pressing doesn't look good, this and that, is calibrate your oven, check the temperatures, you know. All these temperatures, there are suggested temperatures in ideal situations in their manufacture. But if you don't calibrate your ovens, you know, every oven has to be calibrated every 6 months for the ceramic. Pressing ovens also every 6 months. But the most important one when you're working in pressing is please calibrate your burner oven. If the burner oven is not right, you're never gonna have a good surface. You know, this is pretty much every single time we're pressing, we get this kind of surface from my pressing. We're working, like I say, you know, I love the system because one single ring, 200 is ready to go. Pretty much stain and glaze veneers, no layer in this case, just stain and glaze. The material, the only difference is number A is T, and the rest have HT material. And we go from that. You have the ability to use some Lumex ceramic over the Ambria. Many times the only thing, I gotta be honest with you, I use some pear effect and some deep bluish effect into the line angles to create a little bit more, like in this case, actually has a little bit, in the glaze, we integrate a little bit blue for distal and medial line angles. This was just a wash. I did it and then I glazed it. It's a technique I've been using. You can dip it, and then you have this kind of results in the mouth. Is predictable, minimal preparation, and this one basically was no prepping at all the teeth. And we can see and argue here about the corridor, the way the smile line looks. A lot of people say, but because the looks a little bit higher. The line doesn't go the way it's function. We did only the upper. We show the patient what we can do. We follow the lower lid. We follow everything, every situation. And the most important, patient always wear a temporaries with the same final shape and ideal. I think this patient was in injectables also for a long period of time through the process of the central. Then we have the third case I'm going to show you. This is pretty much the same way. It's a very interesting case. I love it because when the patient, they show up in the office, everybody was ready to start cutting for crowns. And I look at it and look at the case. And we didn't say anything. And then we sent the case to DSD. And I got the planning from DSD. That was an idea, it was my first time working with Francis and Coach Line. And we decided they present me this. I said, wow, the only we have to do is prep a little bit number 8 and number 9, or 11 and 29, international numbers. And we can go from that. The rest has to be clean, Comex, everything is going to be fine. Let's look at it. And we went through the planning. I was talking to my doctors. We did a mock-up in the patient's mouth. And after we do the mock-up, the patient said, I love it. The only thing we did is prep AL9, maybe 1 millimeter, less than 1 millimeter, between 0.5 to 1 millimeter. And we show the patient. The patient was coming only for the upper. And after we show the patient with the mock-up, she said, can we do the same thing for the lower? And we say yes. Unfortunately, the lower model was not an ideal model in that time, but we use it. We show the patient, was not additive. If you can see it, we have to do a little bit of preparation for the lower to get the right occlusion. But everything was in paper because we did the upper and we show her the final product. Patient understand and I agree what we have to do for the lower. Today is amazing how we can do it. Actually, if you guys, your doctors, they use medic intraoral scan, they can check occlusion with the medic intraoral scan, and it's so close and accurate, like the T-by. This is in that time where we used to show the patients after we do the mock-ups. The motivational mock-up went into the mouth, we print the models, and after that, we decide to do the case. Another case, this case was just pressing and just stain glaze, because there are between 2/10 to 3/10 of millimeter veneers. There are very thin veneers, there's no space to do it. The material itself is beautiful. And I was happy, when I see this kind of results just with the stain and glaze and patients that are happy. This case, I think, was a OM3. The two centros we did OM3, and to the back I used like a 1-in-1T. Unfortunately, I took the pictures and I see between the two lower centros a little tiny space. We told the patient we have to remake this, and she was so excited. She said, don't touch it, leave it like that, looks natural, I love it. She went away. But, oh, sorry. Hold on. Oh, give me a second. The material itself, like I was mentioned, is so nice. Is beautiful. If you look at it, the way the opalescent or the way the light is carried is. I use IMAX in my office. I can show you cases with IMAX. It's not a topic today, but doesn't look like this when it's mono cases. So, when the cases, I have to use another lithium silica. I have to layer. This is the only material I feel very comfortable today to do a stain and glaze, and I get a really nice results like this one. Okay, guys, thank you very much. I think if you have any questions or anything, let me know. We're gonna try to put together a hands-on, and that way we can really show you how we can do these cases on the bench. I hope you learned or you get something from the way we try to deliver dentistry here in this small town of Houston with my team, with my dentist. And again, thank you very much. Jim.
Thank you, Victor. Appreciate all of the information that you provided everyone. It was very useful, especially the way you kind of move from your diagnostic, your treatment planning, your how to prepare the patient correctly and move through the entire workflow that you do. So that is fantastic. So those of you that are asking about CE, the CE will be following. Give us a couple days. We got to process your CE. We're going to use your registration information to provide you with that CE information, the hours. It has been recorded, today's program with Victor, so we really greatly appreciate Victor coming on and doing this for us. You can visit us at the VITA North America YouTube channel to catch up on whatever maybe you have missed. But give us a couple days to post that. Other programs that we're doing today, or that we're going to do in the future and so forth. We've had a lot of programs, workshops, webinars. Even next year, we're starting to put together even next year's webinars, workshops, and lectures. And of course, Victor will be a part of that. Hopefully, he'll continue to enjoy doing some of these webinars. And like he said, maybe we can do a hands-on as well, if that's possible with you, Victor. That would be fantastic. But we do have a lot going on the rest of this year. 2024, if you're interested in dentures, that is going to be a couple workshops that we do in VITA, Germany. You just got to get yourself there. You've got to pay for the course, of course, but it's a week-long adventure, which is a lot of fun. And then something that Victor has actually spoke at, it's called the SCAD ProSec Conference. If those of you who are maybe going to visit around Chicago next week, we do have a conference going on that there's a lot of high-hitting, very impactful speakers, lectures that are going on that are for not just clinical, but also laboratory. And Victor, your experience, I mean, when you spoke there a couple times, I believe, in the past, right? I mean, it's a great organization, correct?
It's one of the best organizations, and especially now we're going together with the SCAD and ProSec. ProSec is, for me, is one of the best groups around the world in terms of science and true data. The people that belong to that group, and the speaker they always invite is about science. It's beautiful to see about materials, techniques, but I love science. I go by the numbers today, I pass that. And this group is SCAD and ProSec is about numbers. Science is important. You're going to have a wonderful speakers today. Javier is going to have, Vasquez is going to be there. Peter is going to be there. Cornejo is going to be there. It's crazy how many international speakers they coming. They live in the state, but they're going to speak over there. Please come, join ProSec, join SCAD meeting. is more clinical than laboratory, but you have to be in the clinical side. You have, as a technicians, we have to interact with the dentist, you know. It's the same dentists, they have to go to a laboratory, you know, meetings, you know. You see that, you see a lot of dentists, Jim, it's amazing how many dentists we see in Chicago in the lab meeting today is walking around, you know, it's a lot of dentists walking. They enjoy more the laboratory lectures than the clinical lectures, and for me it's the same.
Yeah, it's great because a couple of them we do like tag team, a dentist and a laboratory back to back. There's a lot of laboratory technicians, as Victor said, mentioned, as well as clinics. If you can go there as a technician, you're going to be able to network with a lot of the socialize with a lot of the heavy hitters out there. You can and it's just not the speakers that you'll be able to communicate with and discuss cases with, but it's everyday technicians, everyday dentists as well that go to this program. And kind of like what Victor was talking about, minimally invasive dentistry, whether it's digital or traditional, that a lot of the themes are on that as well. So you'll learn a great deal if you can make it to it. Really encourage everyone to go if possible. If you're needing to get a hold of us, need your rep or something like that, go ahead and here's a list of our current reps in the area, both Canada and the United States. If you need to get a hold of the help desk here at the VITA North America, there is our information. And then, of course, Victor. Victor is, he has, if you can, if you want to email him, and if you have a follow-up question or something like that, please do so. Otherwise, what I'll do is I'm going to go ahead and hit those questions that are coming through so we can get through this. So one of the question is, for Ambria, is it a millable or only pressable? I think some get confused with the Suprinity that you mentioned in the Ambria.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Ambria is just for pressing, and Suprinity is for milling. The quality or the characteristic of the optical characteristics of both materials is almost the same. They are not the same. They are almost the same. But Ambria is pressing, Suprinity is millable, basically.
All right. On part of the question, troubleshooting, someone evidently is having a few fins when they press. How do I avoid fins with my pressing is one of the questions. Is that too hot, too cold, bad investment, all of the above?
That is something, calibration the burner oven is the most important. Every time I travel to different classes, that's the first thing I look at it for pressing is because that reaction layer doesn't start in the pressing or in the investment, it starts in the burner oven. Calibrate the burner oven. That is important. That is something. And sometimes, for example, my oven, my personal oven, the ideal temperature in the oven we have for burning wax for pressing Ambria has to be, I think it's 820 Celsius or 820 Celsius. We have to get the result we get. My oven, the calibration is in 935 degrees. Imagine how much different. And it's visually. If you don't see when you close, you let the oven run to the temperature. When you open the chamber, we usually will take a picture. On the picture, you're gonna see the hotness of the oven. If the oven is not hot outside, turn to the door. The oven is cold. By the time you take off the ring, you put it in the oven. The problem is the temperature inside of where the glass is going to be injected, it's cold, and then you have all the problems or the dimples, cracks, everything. the ring has to be really hot. It's a little bit better in my eyes to be the burner oven a little bit over hot than under. That's my experience. And calibrate the burner oven.
Good suggestion. Another question here is, do you always use the HT ingots, or do you use the T as well for your glaze, for your veneers and so forth?
If the veneers are minimal preparation veneers, less than 0.5, I always use HT. When there are over 0.5, I like to use the T. I need a little bit of that opacity of the T, the translucent. Crowns, I have to use the T. 3/4 crowns, I use the T. But, you know, combinations cases is like that case I present. The case I present is number 8 is an implant over zirconia abutment. We designed the zirconia abutment so big, in that way the crown is only less than 1 millimeter all the way across. I use the T, and the rest of the veneer there are HT.
And what type of printer do you use? You showed that printer there. Is that do you like that printer?
This is the Kima printer.
Okay.
The Kima.
And then when you print your wax, the other question was, when you print your wax, do you take the print and do you check it on a die, or do you just for the margins, or do you you're able to just go right through, sprue it, and
honest is coming because the material we use from the Kima is not light cure. We print, we clean in alcohol, we investing, we press, and after that we check the margin. So far, good, no problems. The fitting is beautiful. The fitting is beautiful. I gotta be honest with you. In the past I used to have a lot of problems when curing the wax. Curing the wax was a problem, and then we have to check it.
Yeah. Okay. Great. And then, do you find cases that you can't press, but you have to mill, or do you foil or refractory? Do you even bother with foil and refractory anymore?
I'm still doing foiling. I'm still doing. I have to do tomorrow. I'm gonna work tomorrow in a 10 veneer case foiling with the BM7. I'm still using the BM7 for my foiling technique. It's my favorite ceramic to do layering over foil and veneers, but we still doing, you know, if I need to, if it's a minimal preparation, and the color of the structure of the natural teeth that are different, I have to layer. It's impossible for me to press one color and get homogeneous color in the mouth. Then we have to layer, you know. That's what I say. When we planning the case, we planning and we take in consideration all this, and that way, if the patient has to bleach through the process, you know, and that is what we base, you know, which material I'm gonna use. Basing all this determination from the very start, I know exactly which material I can use for the case. And I don't use refractory anymore because basically it's not refractory materials. You know, GC America already took off. You can get a refractory for layering. I think Naratoki still have it. I don't like it. Platinum foil is my way. Is my way for foiling. And BM7, you know, Jim, you know, yeah. 7 is the best ceramic in the world.
Yeah.
You didn't hear from me. You didn't hear from me.
So you do some outsourcing. I think you mentioned maybe some design or so forth. Is there a favorite one you use to? Is there a good one that other people might want to reach out to? And
it's called if I can right here, and D2S. It's D2Smile. It's called D2Smile.com. If you go to D2Smile.com, is a center is in Houston. They're open. They're small. D2Smile.
You want me to show you your screen?
Yeah, yeah, you can. This is the center I'm using. It's a great center. They're very personalized center. Give me a sec. I can do this. SD2S. Small.com is the center we use, and we send it. You can, you can go
Okay.
and submit all your information there. They are great. They use me as a center, but it's a great
All right.
center. They're small, and and like I say, you plan to build up a house, please. Even every time somebody go to any kind of surgery or anything we have to do in the human body is a planning. Dentistry was the only profession in the past was selling before planning. You understand me? Dentistry in the past, not today, in the past, was selling before planning. We used to sell 10 veneers and then we sent to the laboratory to do a wax up, if they used to send them to a laboratory to do a wax up. Now we can plan and we can sell the plan. We can sell, something in paper to say this is the way we can do predictable things. And even, what I love about this digital design is we can be ready for the failures, and that is the most important. We don't overpromise today to the patients. With the plan, we say this is what we can do. If we fail, we're ready to do this because this can fail. And the patients, they say, oh, this can fail. Yes, this can fail. It's not forever. Zirconia can break. Zirconia can break. Implants can fail. Everything can fail. If your natural teeth already fail, why the prosthetics parts, they cannot, I don't have warranty. For example, in my office, we don't have a warranty for the cases. We go case by case. Many cases we need to remake. We remake it for free. It's not for free. It's built up into the price, initial price.
Yeah.
Sell the cases accordingly. Okay, Jim.
All right. Let's wrap it up unless someone else has some more questions. But the last one is, how thin can you press a unit of veneer? How thin are you getting?
The thinner I press is 0.3 tenths of millimeter. 0.3 is the thinner I take my wrist, and after that I just go with the rubber wheels and thin it out more if I need to.
All right. Well, I want to thank you again, Victor, for participating, doing the webinar. There's a lot of information, a lot of great information. I love to see your process. That was great to go from the treatment planning through the whole process. So that was good knowledge. Any last parting words you want for anyone?
Just guys, just get into the digital. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I know a lot of technicians, they say, no, it's not for me. I don't. No, they're just getting into. We have to. It's not the future. Digital is today in everything. AI is today. Now we.
Yep, that's for sure.
Okay, Jim. I see you next week.
All right, thanks again. Yep, and we'll see you, everyone, on the next webinar. Thanks for joining us today with Victor on your VITA Academy, VITA North America webinar. And this will end today's webinar. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.